Hello folks, and welcome back to Force Collector, and today we are taking a look at Saber Forge's Exalted lightsaber. And you know, since I've been doing the Force Collector, I had a lot of positive comments on my Saber Forge Disciple lightsaber. A lot of people saying that they would love to see me do more Saber Forge reviews, which is why I am doing this review of the Exalted. But the fact of the matter is, in my Saber collection, I only own 2 Saber Forge lightsabers, and I'm not sure when I'm going to get another Saber Forge lightsaber, so I may try to reach out to Saber Forge to see if they'd be interested in some kind of review program with me. They send me a reviewable lightsaber, I send it back to them when we're done, something like that. But if you guys kind of want to accelerate that process, let Saber Forge know that you really enjoyed my Force Collector reviews and that you'd love to see more Saber Forge products on the Force Collector. That being the case, maybe they'd be more willing to work with me. So for now, let's just get to the review of this lightsaber right here. Now, this Saber Forge lightsaber, the Exalted, is based on Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber. I say based because it's not an exact replica, because Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber, much like Anakin Skywalker, Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, had an activation box right here that they would actually use to ignite their lightsaber, where this has a regular push button switch to activate the lightsaber, just a push button. Now, what's the advantage of that? If you're looking to get something that resembles Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber exactly or closely enough, well, the major advantage of this one is the fact that you just have more grip space. A lot of complaints I see online with people, and a lot of complaints I have anytime I'm spinning lightsabers, comparing this to, say, my Master Replicas or Hasbro lightsabers, is that the activation boxes can get in the way when you're trying to spin. Not so much when you're trying to duel, but when you're trying to spin. This, with the fact that there is no activation box, you really don't have to worry about that, which is very nice. So that was one of the reasons this particular one interested me. Now, why did I pick this up? I have to add that I did not get this from Saber Forge directly. This was bought from a previous purchaser that bought this from Saber Forge. And I saw it, and I was really interested in it, the price was right, and I decided to pick it up. Now, the major difference between all the other lightsabers I own is this is a thin neck lightsaber, which I really wasn't paying much attention to when I bought it. What does that mean? What is a thin neck lightsaber? Well, as you can see, there is a big difference other than the light being attached right here for the igniter. You've got this small portion here and this small portion here, and this is where the light actually shines out here. Where most other lightsabers, it's kind of one thick unit, okay? The major difference with a thin neck lightsaber is it actually uses a different type of blade to put in. You cannot put in a normal polycarbonate tubed blade to get this thing to fit. You have to get a thin necked blade directly from Saber Forge. If you try to put in a regular polycarbonate tubing that is set for just regular lightsabers, it's going to tear the inside reflective wall of that blade, and it's going to make it look like crap. I actually did it to one of my smaller tubes, my 24-inch tubes, to give this a try, and it totally wrecked it. It ripped the inner wall, and the glow inside the polycarbonate tube was not even anymore. So I basically wrecked a blade trying this out. So you have to get a thin-walled, thin-neck blade in order to have this evenly lit and for this thing to actually fit in correctly. You'll notice a big difference in how it locks in as soon as you get it. So that's the difference between a normal lightsaber and a thin neck lightsaber. Let's talk about the design of this thing. Again, no activation box. We'll spin this thing around here. Let's take this out of the case. Look at this thing. Just fantastic craftsmanship here from Saber Forge. Got our cover tech clip there. The black here. And you have this kind of this grenade finish here for the actual grip. And it does take some time getting used to it when you hold it. Especially when you're dueling with it, it does kind of feel weird because the skin in your hand is kind of in between it, depending on how hard you're grabbing it. It's a really good saber to use for measuring on how much pressure you should use when you're doing your blossoms, your spins, because you can know by how hard you're grabbing it what kind of response the saber's giving you. So when you're supposed to go for the 12, you're supposed to kind of relax your hand, and then when you're going back for the grip, you tighten it, which sounds very obvious, but you get what I mean. It is a little weird at first, though, and especially dueling with it, it's a little weird. But one of the reasons I really like this saber is when I'm spinning it or dueling with it, your bottom hand, of course, can go here. Now keep in mind I'm left-handed. And then your dominant hand goes here. I actually stick my thumb here in between the gaps right here. For me, it gives me just an extra measure of control, and it's kind of my measuring spot for when I spin. It just makes it really, really easy to spin. I know where the handle is. I got control of my lightsaber. I guess it kind of protects your thumb. I really don't know. But overall, just a tremendously designed lightsaber that looks great, feels light, but still feels authentic and powerful. Now, you'll notice this little guy sticking out of here. This is something that can easily be removed. The reason I pop this in here is because I don't have a blade in it right at the moment, so you can turn it on, it'll shine through. I'll pop that back in a little bit, but just so you can get a look in the inside of it, there you go. Looks pretty awesome, movie authentic. And how it works is with this thin neck lightsaber is the light is actually right here, if I remember correctly. The light, the LED is actually pointing out this way. These pieces will actually come out. Actually, I think the LED is about right here. This will actually screw out, and the light will come out there. So it's kind of easy to get to from that point. And of course, this part unscrews here if you want to get to the soundboard and everything. So there you go. This is actually in a green color. So let's turn it on, and let's see how it sounds and if it's going to work right. I will get to that in a second. Let's remove the kill switch.
Saber core, Viridian.
Okay. Sound card's playing nice. Let's turn this sucker on. Oh boy. As you heard there, the sound went off, unfortunately. If I play with this, oh, it came back. So, before I jump into the problem, let's talk about the saber until the sound card goes out again. But as you can see, this is green. Originally, I thought this was a blue saber when it was described to me, but it ended up being green, which is fine, a little different. Always happy with getting a green saber, so it's kind of a mix of an Obi-Wan Kenobi / Luke Skywalker Return of the Jedi minus the activation box. Nice green. Sound effects are good. Now, as you saw, when I turned this thing on, it was not playing nice. The sound effects were not coming up correctly. The issue I've had with this thing is that the sound card was bad. I picked up this lightsaber, and I had some tremendous issues probably 3 to 4 days after I got it from the seller and used it for some pretty light dueling, that the sound card just started making these really, really weird noises. Almost like it was glitching out, that there was some kind of programming issue with it. And I remember showing people online what was going on with it to see if they had any idea what was happening. They actually thought the sound was kind of cool, but it got old really quick. It had some kind of weird distortion sound to it. So I was a little angry about that, because obviously I picked it up and wanted to have a nice working saber. So I sent this to Saber Forge and kind of went out there hoping that they would replace it and work on it for the fact that, hey, I didn't know how old it was. I didn't know if it was turned in before, and I wasn't sure if they were going to help me. I mean, by all means, I didn't buy it directly from them. They did not have to honor the warranty, but I will say I sent it in. The response was quick, and they went ahead and said, yeah, it's under warranty, and we're going to go ahead and service it. So I think probably 2 weeks total for turnaround. and I had my saber back, and well, it worked. It worked pretty well, but unfortunately I still have issues with it. The sound card was replaced, but occasionally what will happen is I will turn this thing on, the sound will start for a minute, sometimes the sound won't start at all, or the sound will start up and then immediately cut out. Other times it works okay, so I don't know if there's still an issue with the soundboard or where this was wired, I'm not sure, but let's try turning it on again. Okay, so see, I turned it on, no sound. If I hit a button, nothing. If I move it around, nothing. So a little unfortunate there. And that's one of the biggest things, is if you are buying a lightsaber third party from somebody, make sure they accurately describe everything to you and let you know if there's any issues or damage to it. There's a very good chance the seller probably knew what he was selling to me, and he figured, well, it'll be a little while before there's issues, and okay, cool. You know, he won't figure it out. And when it does happen, hopefully it'll happen late enough where he'll just assume that it's a saber doing it itself, and he can't blame me and turn it back. You know, really weird that you would sell such a nice thing like this, but who knows? Again, that couldn't. Maybe that wasn't the case at all. Maybe it just something that happened out of nowhere. But be cautious when you are buying lightsabers from a different place other directly from the manufacturer of the lightsaber, because if you end up getting a dud, by all means you could be stuck with it. And yeah, you could go through the PayPal riffraff of trying to get your money back and dealing with that, but just be careful. If you're careful, you won't have to deal with that. So that is all I will say about that. But overall, I do enjoy the saber. I just wish that the sound worked a little bit better. Unfortunate. I should probably try sending this back to Saber Forge again and see if they can fix it a second time and see if they have any better luck with it. Who knows? So let's go ahead and do a quick video of what this looks like when the blade is in it, and we will wrap up this review.